episode 4. I'm super pumped to deliver this episode to you. We have Kate here from Honey Studio.
Hey guys,
Kate.
thanks for having me.
The reason I was just telling Kate actually before we pressed record, with Females Doing Cool Shit, I actually wrote down a list of all the women who have inspired me in my life or my business world, and Kate was in possibly top 5, I believe, on the list. When I first started going to Honey, probably over a year ago, I was in a really dark time of my life. I'd left my marriage. I had just moved out. I was trying to, I guess, fumble my way through life, and I found dance again. So I used to dance when I was a little girl at school and in high school, and I just found it so fun and so freeing, and it just allowed me to release my inner child. And that's what I found going back to Honey. I don't get there as much as I'd like. I just do one private now a week, which works around my wild work schedule, but I can't let go because I just love it so much. So Kate, tell us a little bit about you and your story and your personal life and business. And
absolutely,
I feel like the listeners definitely deserve to know who you are.
Firstly, thank you so much for having me. I'm so honoured to be here. I respect you so much. Like, you're just such a go-getter. We're literally just saying, Renee's the type of person, she's like, I want to do this thing, and then she just does it and it's there.
The next day.
Yeah, literally. So yeah, I'm very much the same. So I'm very much honoured to be here. I own Honey. I founded Honey. It's an adult dance studio in Warana on the Sunshine Coast. So we are all about helping people to build confidence and an unstoppable mindset through dance, especially for adults. Exactly like you said, we go through so many things, and I think sometimes we really just need a safe space where we can remember who we are and just come back to ourselves and have something where we feel empowered by the women around us and just have that place we can go to reconnect with ourselves. So that's kind of the main reason for Honey. I have been dancing my whole life. I started when I was 3 years old. So yeah, as a young girl, I was super shy, super insecure, zero confidence whatsoever. I was constantly comparing myself to other girls, and I really kind of found myself through dancing. So basically just like over some time, I just started to realize like my goals were so much bigger than my insecurities when it came to dancing. So it was like, okay, I really want to be performing a solo, but I'm too shy and I can't do it. So it was like, okay, if I want to achieve all these big things that I want for myself, I actually have to become the kind of person that can do that. So through dancing and all the little goals, I kind of started to show myself that I was capable of being disciplined. I was capable of doing hard things. I started to learn how to connect with other people, and it really kind of grew into having this huge, big dream of opening a dance studio. And there was a lot of steps to make in order to get to that process. But over time and through kind of just like hustling on and making a bunch of mistakes on the way, I ended up founding Honey. I started with all the different styles. When I turned 15, I realized that hip-hop was my love, my obsession. I remember being at a dance competition, and I saw this dance crew, and they were doing this like super gangster hip-hop routine, and I was like crying because I was like, it's so beautiful. And they're like pumping.
There's just something so powerful watching people like flow through hip hop. I'm obsessed. I just sit there on TikTok. I'm like, next.
Literally. Yeah, it's so amazing. Like, and I think the hip hop world as well, like everyone is so hungry for it. Like they're so obsessed with it as well. There's so much passion in that industry. So yeah, I really resonated with that. And when I saw that, I remember going to my dance teacher at the time, and I was like, I love this. Like, can I please just go to a couple of classes a week? I'll still make sure I do all my things here. And she was like, absolutely not. Like, you can't do it. And I was like, distraught. I was like, no.
Were you doing ballet with her, or were you doing
I was doing ballet, jazz. I was doing hip hop, but it was jazz. Like, it wasn't really hip hop, that was kind of the first time that I was like, you know what? Screw you then. I'm going to do me. Went to that studio and was just surrounded by a bunch of people that were like me. They were just completely obsessed with what they were doing, and I just became even more obsessed and really started to just devote my life to it. which was awesome. I got to experience so many things within that. I learned how to really hustle, to be disciplined. We trained our asses off. Like, we would train minimum 8 hours a day till 3, 4 a.m.
Did you have to hold a job outside of that?
Yes, like, but I was like 15. So, yeah, like I did kind of, but I was like chilling a little bit.
Yeah.
And then, eventually I did, which was messed up. But, yeah, like trying to manage.
It was messed up.
It was a whole situation. Zero sleep. But yeah, I like trying to like go to school and stuff like that at the same time was super hectic. And I feel like at that time in the dance industry, it was very romanticized to push yourself past the point of burnout. Like, if you were not eating, not sleeping, not drinking water, freaking passing out at the wheel, which people actually did, like a lot, like missing life events, weddings, funerals, like it was very much like, oh yeah, you're like you're
doing the right thing.
Exactly. So it taught me a lot of discipline. It taught me how to, stay hard mentally, but also proved to me that that's not you're not going to get long-term results doing that. Things can come quick, but you're going to burn out eventually. And, if you're not kind of looking after your mental health and your physical health and all of that sort of stuff at the same time, then, at some point you're just not even going to enjoy it anymore and you're going to want to give up, which is basically what I did. I was just like, screw dancing. This is crazy. Don't want to do it anymore. Yeah. And then, I was traveling around like overseas and things and competing, and I was getting all the things that I wanted, but I wasn't happy at all. And so it was just like, I don't know, I just started to get to this place where I was like, why can't people have both? Like, why can't they achieve all their dreams and be surrounded by people who are like, yeah, you can do that and let's freaking hustle for it. But at the same time, you can be happy and you can take time for yourself, and you need to eat food and you need to drink water, you need to sleep, like all the things. Like, why can't we have both? Why can't we be extremely loving towards ourselves and hustle and be obsessed and all the things? And so that really was my mission. Like, I really wanted to create a dance studio where people could challenge the crap out of themselves and be empowered and supported through that. But at the same time, if they come to me and they're like, oh, I really want to watch Netflix tonight, I need to chill out, I'm like, you do you.
Yeah. Having that balanced approach to life.
100%. Yeah. So, yeah, for me, that comes into the way that I've structured Honey. So we have opportunities for beginners through to professional dancers, courses, casual classes, all the things. But yeah, it's an adult studio, so people can really pick how flexible. So it's like you were saying, you know.
At the moment, life's hectic, but I can't give up Honey because I'm so obsessed. So I'm like, Chelsea, squish me into a private, please. Like,
exactly, yeah, and you need that.
It is honestly the best part of my week.
Yeah.
Doing that 1 hour dance class is the best part of my week. Like, being a single mom, having all the businesses and running around all the time, I find like I'm just at peace there.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, so well done.
Okay,
You've
thanks.
created just a gorgeous place. So, Kate, you spoke about, you know, when you were younger, you were pushing yourself to the limit. How did you come up with Honey? Like, I remember hearing a story actually from maybe one of the girls that dances at Honey, and she said that, did you name Honey when you were a little girl? You had the name for the studio?
I was a teenager, yeah.
Someone told me that, and I was like, that's so powerful. And did you just hold on to the name and just like have this vision of this dance school from that age?
Kind of. So I have always wanted to have a dance studio. Honestly, it sounds ridiculous, but I've been planning it since I was like 3. When I was a teenager, I had gone through all the hip hop process, all the things. I was like, okay, COVID had happened. I was in London at the time, and I was, pursuing the whole backup dancer thing. And then in the space that I got during COVID, I was like, you know what? I freaking love teaching. Like, I'm ready to do the dance studio now. I don't want to do it later like I had planned. And I'd also found heels dancing, which was just like the best thing ever. I felt so empowered through heels, and it just like I was so passionate about helping people to be happy and healthy through dancing. So those were kind of my main pillars for what I knew I wanted in a studio. So I remember, take it back a little bit. So when I did my first heels dance class, I was just like completely obsessed. It was my second kind of moment in dance after hip hop. I was like, this is the thing. It fits all of it together. I went home and I was just like, okay, let me just plan everything that I want for the studio. Like, and it was another one of those moments of like, okay, right now I'm actually not really like ready to open it. Like, I'm not fully the person that I want to be yet. Like, I need to get better at setting boundaries and getting more confident and all the things. And I needed to learn more about this heels style. So I went home. I was like, okay, I want the studio. Here's a list of all the things that I need to do to achieve that dream. So I was like, okay, here's all the heels teachers, hip hop teachers, whatever, all around the world that I need to learn from, all the business stuff I need to learn, all the different things. And I just kind of named it Honey Heels just because it sounded good. There was alliteration. I was like, nice. Didn't really think on it too much. But I took that list very seriously and I did all the things on the list. So
I love that.
yeah, so I traveled around.
Determined.
Yeah, 100%. And so like a few years later, I was thinking about the name. I'd named it something else dumb, like K2 or something. And then I was talking to my brother, and he was like, is there anything that's like really meant a lot to you on the journey? And I was like, oh, like that list that I made. And then I was like, oh, honey, like I remembered.
Right.
And so, yeah, that was super important. And then also, everyone always asks me, is it because of the Honey movie? And the answer is no, but it actually does have a bit of a part in it. So in the movie called Honey, it's a dance movie, she basically does the same thing that I did. She goes to LA, she does the whole industry, everything's fancy and all that sort of stuff. She achieves all the things that she wants to, and then she kind of realizes, like, all I want is to give back to my community. Like, I just want to go back to my why and why I started dancing. And for me, that's really what happened as well. So it was like me kind of, it just incorporated that whole community aspect as well for me, which I really wanted to have.
So
in the name.
beautiful.
Yeah.
That is, when I hear of women giving back to their community, it makes me feel all gooey. I love it. It's so beautiful. On that, you have so many different, you've got a big chunk of students that go to your dance school. Most of your classes are booked out.
Yeah.
What is it to them? That's your community. What is Honey to them? Is there any stories that you can share with us, or any experiences over the time where you know that what you're doing is really making impact?
100%. I could tell you a million stories. So I think that one of the first ones was quite pivotal. So there was a girl that came to me. She was about 16 years old, and this was early days of Honey. And she said, she was like, I just want to thank you because since starting Honey, I've gained confidence in myself. Since like realizing what I'm actually worth and what I deserve, I broke up with my toxic boyfriend who was just treating me so badly. I've realized that like what I actually want for myself, and that literally came from Honey and the way that I'm treated here. I've just never experienced that before.
And that's a 16-year-old.
16. And so for me, that was huge because that's like a huge reason why I started Honey, because, I had a great upbringing, but I wasn't always super supported. So it was kind of like I did a lot of things on my own, and because of that, because I didn't really know what it felt like to be supported, I would get myself in a lot of situations where I was treated in a way that I shouldn't have been, and it just causes so much unnecessary suffering and pain. Like when you don't know what you deserve, you settle for so much less than that, and it's just like it impacts every part of your life. So, having people around you who are like, hey, actually, this is what it feels like to be supported. You're like, oh,
really?
So, yeah, this is what it feels like. Me dating that guy who's doing this.
Definitely not
it.
it.
Feels like, yeah. So, things like that, when people come and tell me those stories, I'm like, wow, like that's exactly why I do this. That's my why. And since then, the stories, like, and I won't even show it, say it, but a lot of the stories that come to me are just honestly like harrowing. Like they're just so deeply traumatic for so many people going through so many things, like beyond my wildest imagination. And for them to come and say to me, like, this is my safe space. Like, this is where I get to come and be at peace, like you said, or I get to realize.
Make friends.
Literally.
As an adult.
Yeah, it's so hard. Like, so yeah, it's just like the simple things are the biggest things.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah.
And you have created a community, I've seen it, and I'm a part of it, where women build really positive, beautiful friendships. It's so nice. And I know that we've spoken a lot about, I guess, business, and sometimes in friendships and in the dance industry, it can be really competitive, whereas that is just not even a thing at Honey.
Yeah.
Like you get up at the end to do your dance and be filmed if you even want to, and everyone is like, literally, sometimes you can't even hear the music because everyone's yelling at you like, come on.
Yeah.
It's so, so nice and so supportive. So that's awesome. What's like an outstanding moment for you as like a female business owner? Is there an outstanding moment where you're like, yeah, this is amazing?
Yeah, I think honestly, it's a sum of all the little moments. Like it's all the stuff that, like I just said, like it's, for me, it's when I walk into the studio and I see everybody smiling and laughing and girls becoming the best of friends and just like healing themselves and each other and connecting. Like it happens every single day. Like, and that for me is the biggest thing. I actually had a really cool moment last week. I did check-ins with all my teachers. And that was really huge because it was like every single one of them was just like, I love honey. Like, this is the best place ever. Like, I don't even have feedback. Like, this is just, they were like,
being here.
Yeah, and they were just like, since being here, I've realized all the things that I want for myself and all these dreams and stuff. And so that was huge because it's one thing for clients to feel that way, but it's also important that staff feel that way too. So, that was a really big moment for me.
I tend to say to my staff when I put out like the monthly roster, I have like a goal. And last month it was that you love being at work. And I always say that if you're not meeting that goal, tell me and we can work on it together on how we can reach that goal because you want happy staff. And the fact that all of them said that, like you're doing something right. That is amazing. I love that for you.
Thank you.
So Kate, we just touched on outstanding moments for you, moments that have, filled your bucket. Anything that was challenging?
Yeah, so I would just say I think any business owner can relate to this. It's just like, as the business owner, like the buck stops with you. Like you're responsible for everything. So it's such a blessing and it's what I signed up for. But at the same time, you can never really fully switch off, like, which I think is a good thing in some ways. I'm very excited all the time, very passionate. But, I'm also human. And sometimes, I just want to go home and watch Netflix and chill out. But it's like if something needs to be done, then I need to be there. So I think it's just the pressure and always ensuring that I'm taking care of myself so that I can be able to provide that because I've definitely had to learn that lesson the hard way. If I'm not taking care of myself and then something happens, like that's where I'm more likely to react from an emotional place instead of a professional place or get overwhelmed and stressed and, it's just like hard instead of, okay, let's like sort this out, getting excited, making an opportunity. So just like keeping myself happy, healthy, secure.
That balance. I find that like the world that we live in now, everyone is so quick to just send an Instagram DM to get information on the spot. They want their problem fixed straight away. Like we're living in this generation where it's like now. And I find that really challenging when I can see on one of my businesses Instagram DMs, there might be 10 unread messages within an hour. I find it very hard to go, hang on, I'll deal with that tomorrow during business hours, not right now while I'm hanging out with my daughters doing arts and crafts. Like, it's very challenging because you're like, you have that anxiety around, I still have to fix that issue or I still have to respond to that email.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it really is a skill, like that takes a long time to learn, like being able to be like, okay, I really care about my business and I really care about this thing that's happening, but I also really care about my children. I care about my partner, myself. Like it's like not letting it become everything and not giving into that anxiety and everything can be really difficult.
Do you have any tips around that? Like, is there something that you do in your life to manage that work-life balance?
Yeah, boundaries and communicating those boundaries and really having your own back and like standing up for your boundaries. So, other people don't understand your life. They don't understand all the things that you're going through. We don't understand all the things that they're going through. So it's, if someone's like, there's been days where, Chelsea, my studio manager, we might both be PMSing, for example. And so it's like we both come in and it's like what I need in that moment is going to be different to what she needs. And so, if we don't firstly know where we're at and know our boundaries, we can't communicate it with each other. And then that's where, she might be like, oh, did you like this thing I did? And I'm like, yeah, that was awesome. And in her head, because she's also PMSing, she might be like, oh, she didn't tell me it was freaking amazing. And, you know,
Overthinking.
So it's just like, communication, set the
Yeah.
boundaries, like, and really prioritize taking time off. Like, and if people don't understand why you need time off, it's just like, again, communication, explain why, because it's so important. Like, you got to be able to recharge so that you can bring more out.
Well, you recently went overseas and you had it structured so that business went on as usual, didn't you, in the studio?
100%. Yeah, so that also just comes down to having a fire team. I have the best team in the whole world. So.
Yeah, and going, hey guys, I need a break, or hey guys, I'm going to do this. Are you all good?
100%.
I'm taking my girls overseas for 10 days in 2 months. And the only reason I'm doing it is because I completely trust my team and I know that they have my business and my best interests at heart and that me leaving, it's okay. I have my laptop. I can check my emails once a day. But other than that, I'm having a holiday and I'm going on a break and I'm so excited.
That's so exciting. That'll be awesome.
So, Kate, I've got some listener questions for you that we'll wrap the potty up with.
Yep.
So the first question that has come into my inbox to ask you is, what advice do you have for someone anxious to start their first business?
Firstly, your feelings are so valid. It's so normal to feel anxious, fear, doubt, all the things. I'm going to give 2 pieces of advice. So firstly, use those feelings. Don't run away from them. You know, if you're feeling anxious and you're like, this thing could happen, that thing could happen, instead of like, no, I'm going to shut it off because you're not a robot, you're a human, you have feelings, that's okay. Use them and be like, okay, some things that could go wrong, let me do what I can to prepare for those things. Let me be proactive about it. And if there's nothing more you can do, really talk to yourself in a loving way and actually sit with yourself and give yourself the time and space to be like, okay, I'm anxious, it's valid, you know, I've done the things I can prepare, there's nothing more that I can do. And just sitting with that and doing that in your own way. And then the second thing is, like, come back to your why. There was a time where, you know, it was just a dream, it was just an idea, and you're like, imagine if I had a business and all of this sort of stuff. And then the fears and everything start creeping in. So go back to when you first had the dream. Why did you start it? What's your mission? What's your purpose? And really lean into that, and that will help you get through the insecurities.
Navigate through that fear of failure, I guess.
100%.
Sometimes that's what creeps in. Yeah. Oh, what a beautiful answer. I love that. Thanks, Kate. Can you let our listeners know, so if they want to come to Honey, if they want to follow your dance journey? I know that I love watching your reels whenever you do some crazy, cool, kick-ass dance. I'm like, oh, look at her. She's so amazing. How can listeners find you, and how can they come to Honey? Is there a first class pass, or tell us a bit about it?
So you can find us on Instagram. It's Honey by Kate Kleine. And then you can find us on YouTube, same name, TikTok, same name, Facebook, same name. So it's super easy. Kleine is Kleine. And we do free first class. So if you head to either our Instagram or website, you'll be able to find that and then book into any class that you want to. But we're always here to help with anything you need. So
amazing. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. I adore you in so many different ways, and I just think that our listeners will get heaps from this. So thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.